Today on Investigate TV Plus, a controversial diagnosis at the heart of a decades-long debate.
We're the experts in the brain, not the child abuse pediatrician.
And freedom is at stake for people still behind bars.
You don't give up. You just don't throw your hands up and give up, especially when you know somebody's innocent.
One man's journey and an in-depth look at the new science that could set him and others free.
Plus, she wanted concert tickets, but instead got a disappearing act.
Poof, gone out of thin air.
We reveal the warning signs of scammers and ticket scalpers.
And we take you to the after-school club helping students hit the right notes.
There's a spark of reality in gospel choir. You sing your emotions. Sweet Jesus.
In-depth stories that inform and inspire. You're watching Investigate TV Plus.
It's a controversial ruling at the center of legal battles across the country. I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm Tisha Powell. We're talking about deaths connected to shaken baby syndrome. It's a term used to describe the symptoms resulting from violent shaking or hitting the head of an infant or small child. The National Center on Shaken Baby Syndrome estimates 1,300 cases are reported in the U.S. each year.
The diagnosis itself has been at the center of courtroom debates for decades.
But science is now raising new questions about whether certain cases can prove shaken baby syndrome beyond a reasonable doubt.
One major case was that of Audrey Edmonds. In 1996, a judge convicted Edmonds, a babysitter at the time, of shaking a 7-month-old baby under her care to death. According to the National Registry of Exonerations, in 2003, new evidence argued the baby could have died from short falls or trauma from birth. In 2008, a court overturned Audrey's conviction and ordered a new trial. The prosecution later dismissed the charges. A man in Georgia now hopes to prove his innocence after a shaken baby syndrome diagnosis helped put him in prison more than 20 years ago.
Investigative reporter Andy Parati has been following this case for years and shows us how evolving research could help set him free.
Here I am 20 years later, back in the courtroom.
Daniel Smith pleads with a Gwinnett County judge this past April to grant him a new trial, more than 20 years after he's sentenced to life for the murder of his infant son.
But not every tragedy is a crime. I'm not a murderer. I didn't kill my son, Chandler.
5 months later, his request denied.
It's very disappointing, very disappointing.
Latasha Pyatt is Danielle's fiance. Throughout her home, symbols of hope.
Bam, welcome home. I have such a vision of the look he's gonna have on his face when he sees that.
A house full of his favorite things Danielle has never seen.
I think these are the last shoes he wore to court.
Clothes, cologne, and even a car. They met nearly 10 years ago, engaged for those years, with no certainty she'll ever walk down the aisle.
How often do you look at this dress?
Very often. I even try it on, often. I met Danielle July 3rd, 2015. I didn't blink then. I'm not blinking now. And you don't give up. You just don't throw your hands up and give up, especially when you know somebody's innocent.
Latasha knows what a lot of people are thinking. Why is she in a relationship with a convicted murderer with no guarantee he'll ever be free from behind bars? Her response? Look at the evidence.
In 2003, a Gwinnett County jury convicted Danielle of murdering his 2-month-old son, Chandler. The state's medical examiner ruled the boy's death a homicide caused by blunt force trauma. Prosecutors told the jury it was a shaken baby case.
We're the experts in the brain, not the child abuse pediatrician.
Dr. Saeed Ghatan is a pediatric neurosurgeon at Mount Sinai Hospital in New York. He and 7 other medical experts testified on Danielle's behalf this past April during a hearing requesting a new trial. After reviewing the child's medical records, the doctor believes Chandler didn't die from shaking, but likely from trauma during birth.
And you see stroke in this case. And if you see stroke and you see any hemorrhage, then you can see retinal hemorrhage. And it's not suggestive of abuse.
Dispatch records show 2 weeks before Chandler's death, his mother called 911 after she thought the child was coming in and out of a seizure. Chandler was born premature at 36 weeks. Paramedics dismissed her concern, saying the baby was just having hiccups.
This looks nothing like somebody who was abused. It looks like somebody who had hypoxic ischemic brain damage.
For decades, pediatric traumatic brain injuries could only be explained with blunt force trauma, like car accidents, falls, or violently shaking a child. Today, new science shows those same injuries can be linked to illnesses and biological issues, like seizure disorders. Since 2019, nearly 24 people charged with crimes connected to shaken baby syndrome diagnoses have had their convictions overturned or their cases dismissed.
Remain seated, come to order.
While the judge denied Danielle's request for a new trial, the Georgia Supreme Court recently gave him a second chance, agreeing to hear his case later this year to determine whether he deserves a new trial based on the new expert medical testimony. Mark Landon Brown is Danielle's attorney. In support of his appeal, the Georgia Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers sent this letter to the state Supreme Court.
They write this quote, "This was not a he said, she said type of case. It was a he said, and the experts said, and the scientific community said, and multiple courts have subsequently said type of case." I thought that was a really nice way to say it in support of our position. Like, the science and the courts continue to overwhelmingly say that diagnoses of the kind that was used to convict Mr. Smith are unreliable and should be remedied.
One person who doesn't believe Danielle deserves a second trial, his ex-girlfriend, Chandler's mother.
Those things didn't just happen, and those weren't natural causes. But what I am sure of is that Chandler died at the hands of Danielle Smith.
While Danielle and Latasha wait for the Georgia Supreme Court's ruling, he could be free today. In 2023, the Gwinnett County District Attorney's Office offered him a rare deal to go home. But there was a catch. He had to plead guilty to voluntary manslaughter and admit guilt. Danielle refused. Here's what he said in court before he knew the judge would deny his request for a new trial.
I asked myself if I could live with that decision for the rest of my life. The answer to that question was no. Only a guilty man will plead out.
Does he regret not taking that plea deal?
No,
Do you wish he would have taken it?
no,
He'd be here today.
he would. But you know what? He would be here today on parole. Everywhere that he goes, he would have to ask them for permission. It's like he's still in prison.
As of February 2025, a new trial date has not been set.
In 2018, the Society for Pediatric Radiology and 8 other global organizations published in-depth research on moving away from diagnosing shaken baby syndrome and instead using the more general term abusive head trauma, which is defined as a severe form of child abuse that results in a brain injury. The authors say the medical consensus aims to give courtrooms a comprehensive understanding of abusive head trauma.
Still ahead, when it comes to matters of the heart, this diagnosis can literally take your breath away.
I couldn't do anything. I could not walk up a flight of stairs without being out of breath.
We examine the new device that could help Americans live healthier lives.
Plus, music fans get conned out of concert tickets. We reveal the steps you can take to ensure you get an encore.
Buying tickets online can help you skip the line at the venue's box office.
However, some event goers found it can also lead to big headaches and financial losses.
One Missouri music fan's concert tickets mysteriously disappeared from her account, along with the thousands of dollars she paid.
Reporter Lauren Traeger uncovers why she's not the only victim and shows the steps that you can take to protect your next event.
It was a good day.
Along with all of her family and friends,
That's my maid of honor.
Erin Owens had a special guest at her wedding, legendary R&B artist Usher.
He was definitely there at the wedding.
Well, sort of. She tossed her bouquet to one of his songs and danced the night away to others.
I've loved him for a really long time.
So she jumped at the chance to see him live in St. Louis. She purchased 4 tickets for a total of $2,500.
As a little hurrah, just to thank everyone and show them how much I appreciated them for helping me.
They were all set for a night of fun. Then this happened.
I went into my Ticketmaster account and I saw that my tickets were gone.
Transferred out of her account by an apparent scammer.
Poof, gone out of thin air.
Erin is not alone.
It's egregious.
A man in Hawaii had his comedy show tickets disappear from his account.
I think that when they get a complaint, if they can't immediately return the tickets to the victim, they should at least freeze them until they figured out what's happened.
I love Pitbull.
Then there's Emily in Branson, Missouri. She was pumped to see Mr. Worldwide.
I told my husband, I was like, that's all I want for my birthday. I want tickets to that concert.
They paid $165 for 2 tickets and everything seemed fine, but then the messages started to arrive.
My husband got a series of emails back to back letting him know that your ticket transfer is pending and now your ticket transfer is approved.
These screenshots show accounts named KM and QB accepted the transfer.
He immediately went in and checked and opened his Ticketmaster account and found that the tickets were gone.
Then she got a notification the transfer was complete. Her tickets now in the wrong hands.
It was definitely transferred from within our account.
Convinced it was a hacker, she immediately contacted Ticketmaster and says she was told they'd have to wait 3 to 5 days for a response.
Yeah, that was alarming because 5 business days would have put us beyond the concert date.
Fortunately, she got another message just in time. Tickets are reinstated.
You know, it could have been just a real bummer of a situation.
The Better Business Bureau confirms it has seen similar cases like this and advises consumers to make sure everything is documented.
I'm regularly getting screen captures on my phone, just saving them to my photos so that I have that purchase order number, a receipt number. Also, I'm watching my credit card statements to be sure that the transaction is happening there.
Experts say while data breaches can open the door, oftentimes you can give hackers the keys by having a less than secure password.
All of us need to practice good online hygiene of regularly changing our passwords, making sure those passwords are really strong, not believing anything we see come via email.
I want my tickets.
Erin had a confession. Her password wasn't quite as strong as it could have been. She's changed it now, but that didn't resolve her devastation and disbelief that she could be missing her chance to see Usher in person.
It's one of those things where you never thought that it could actually happen to you, but it did.
After several inquiries made by Erin and by us, she did get her tickets back. Ticketmaster sent a statement writing, quote, "Overall, our digital ticketing innovations have greatly reduced fraud compared to the days of paper tickets and duplicated PDFs. Having that digital history is also how we were able to investigate the situation and restore fans' tickets." Further writing, they are, quote, "constantly investing in new security enhancements to safeguard fans." A reminder here, each of your accounts should have a unique and long password. Experts I talked to say using a password manager is key. In St. Louis, I'm Lauren Traeger.
Still ahead, the soulful sound of gospel.
Sweet Jesus. Gospel choir brings about a peace. It gives you joy, it gives you hope.
We take you to the small town club, giving students their own voice.
But first, a minister calls a small device a miracle for saving his life.
It got to the point where I was planning my funeral.
We examine the technology giving patients living with heart failure hope for the future. Millions of people in the U.S. live with heart failure.
The term may sound like the heart isn't working at all, but according to the American Heart Association, it means the heart isn't pumping as well as it should. and the body may not get the oxygen it needs.
A study published in the American Heart Journal in 2018 revealed about 22% of people living with heart failure have a permanent pacemaker. It's a small battery-powered device inserted under the skin on the chest to help the heartbeat in a regular rhythm.
In 2019, the FDA approved a different device to treat heart failure, and it's showing promising results.
Reporter Kim Clark shows us how Barostim works and why a minister calls it a miracle.
I couldn't do it.
Richard Coram loves golf. So much so, the retired hospice chaplain works part-time at a golf course.
I can play out here for free.
But last year, Richard was barely able to walk, let alone play golf.
I couldn't do anything. I could not walk up a flight of stairs without being out of breath.
It was heart failure, and Richard was convinced he wouldn't survive.
It got to the point where I was planning my funeral. I had my headstone not only purchased, you can go to McNairy County to a little town called Milledgeville, and there sits my tombstone. It's there.
Searching the internet one day, Richard read about a company called CVRX and its Barostim device. Dr. Dmitry Yarnoff with Baptist Hospital and Stern Cardiovascular implanted that Barostim in Richard's chest.
We here at Baptist have been using Barostim for the last almost 4 years. We started our program back in 2021, right in the time when pandemic hit.
Although the Barostim looks like a pacemaker, it works much differently.
Where it goes to the right side of your neck, where nerve bundles are controlling the blood flow to our brain. And by stimulating those nerve bundles, what I can do is I can trick your brain into thinking you don't have heart failure.
When taken with prescribed heart medications, CVRX says Barostim has a 94% success rate with heart failure patients, which is prevalent in the Mid-South, where the leading cause of death is heart disease.
Unfortunately, our tri-state area is the raddest of the rad, where, in terms of heart failure mortality and prevalence of heart failure.
With his health problems now in the rearview mirror, Richard is no longer burdened by that statistic, thanks to a tiny device that set him on a new course.
I went, and I'm not exaggerating, I went from planning my funeral to planning vacation.
Still ahead.
1, 2, 3, ready, go! Woo!
Singing is good for the soul.
There's a spark of reality in gospel choir. You sing your emotions.
We introduce you to middle schoolers who sing from the heart.
The word gospel comes from the Greek word euangelion, which literally means good news. According to Samford University, the genre itself stems from the pre-Civil War South, where African-American enslaved people would sing songs of hope and faith. Today, churches across the country use gospel music to share biblical stories and celebrate their faith.
A middle school gospel choir celebrates that history and culture.
Reporter Lauren Korn meets the students who are hitting the right notes.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to the LMS Gospel Choir. My name is Christy McCrae Eagles, and I will be your director.
It's a sanctuary where every voice is heard. Meant to uplift and to connect.
Gospel choir brings about a peace. It gives you joy, it gives you hope.
It also gives Christy McRae Eagles joy teaching gospel choir at Loris Middle School.
I felt that love and that peace that I got from being in choirs, could probably help somebody else. I need you to believe in yourself.
The behavior intervention specialist switches notes one day a week to be the club's music director.
Many of the children from this community have been involved in churches or where they have been involved in choirs, and so they bring these skills already.
Children like Melvin Alford.
There's a spark of reality in gospel choir. You sing your emotions.
Sweet Jesus.
The 8th grader returning to the club for a second year.
It's not just songs. In culture, there's a meaning behind everything we do.
Look to your left.
And for 7th grader Christina Batten,
as far as you can.
The reasons why I wanted to join is because I love to share my voice with others, and I just love God, and I love to sing it.
Inhale. Hold it.
The choir takes a few minutes warming up their bodies.
Very good. Very good.
And their voices.
1, 2, 3, ready, go! Woo!
Before diving into a variety of songs.
Rejoice.
Some spiritual, but all deliver a powerful and positive message.
This Little Light of Mine, that's my signature song that I started singing when I'm at my church at Facts of Life.
This little light of mine.
I sing that song a lot because it's meaningful. It means a lot to me.
I'm gonna let it shine.
How does it make you feel when you see them singing or smiling or just getting into it?
Goosies. Goosies. They give me goosies, you know, and especially when I see where it is affecting them, you know, because each one has something different that they're bringing.
Don't look at it as it's just gospel choir, you know. Look at it as an opportunity to expand.
Yes, they want you to know that each lyric they sing sparks a feeling and tells a story.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks to this music director whose goal is not only to keep them in tune, but to also let their light shine.
Be who you are, and it's okay. Everybody's not going to be the same, but what you bring is unique. Gospel choir gives them that message that it's okay, I can let my light shine.
Well, those kids definitely looked like they were having a good time. Really feeling it.
Feeling it, and some great life lessons
Yeah.
in that class being taught every day. Very nice.
Well, that's it for us on Investigate TV Plus. I'm T. Chappelle.
And I'm Lee Zurich. Thanks for watching.
On the next Investigate TV Plus, some people struggling with obesity have found success using an injectable drug, but better health can come at a high price.
It's ultimately me deciding, am I going to have a place to stay for me and my kids, or am I going to pay for this medication?
We take an in-depth look at medications targeting weight loss and efforts to curb cost.